Maegor I Targaryen, also known as Maegor the Cruel, was larger than his father, King Aegon I. He was bull-like, with heavy shoulders, a thick neck, and huge arms. He had angry-looking, suspicious eyes and a scowling mouth. Maegor was a born warrior who rose to become one of the youngest knights of his time. He was a hard and brutal man. As a youth, he already showed cruel tendencies and had no true friends, mostly keeping to himself. Maegor enjoyed war and battle, but most craved violence, death, and absolute mastery over all he deemed his. Maegor wore his father's steel and ruby crown. His armor, however, was more elaborate than Aegon's. He received his first sword at the age of 3 and butchered a cat with it. His cruelty showed again when he finished off a horse which had kicked him. Maegor was a born warrior who was trained at arms by Sir Gallan Corbray, the master-at-arms of Dragonstone. His mother, Visenya, gave him her Valyrian steel sword, Dark Sister, as a name-day present when Maegor turned 13. The same year, Maegor defeated hardened knights in a melee. Maegor's brother, Aenys, had married Lady Alyssa Valerian in year 22 after conquest, and their daughter, Rhaena, was born the next year. After Rhaena's birth, people suggested that Maegor would fall behind her in the line of succession. When Maegor was 12 years of age, Queen Visenya suggested a betrothal between him and the infant Rhaena in order to settle the succession issue, but the High Septon protested. Instead, Maegor was betrothed to the High Septon's niece, Lady Cerys Hightower, whom he married at the age of 13 at the Starry Sept in Old Town. Though Maegor boasted that he had conceived a child on his wedding night, the marriage remained barren. Maegor had more success in his military accomplishments. At the age of 16, he won a tourney by defeating 3 knights of the Kingsguard in the joust, and next winning the melee, and was knighted by his father, King Aegon I, making him the youngest knight in the realm at the time. Shortly thereafter, Maegor assisted the Master of Ships, Aeton Valerian, and the Hand of the King, Sir Osmond Strong, in 2 campaigns against the pirate Sargasso San, a member of the San family, in the Stepstones in year 29 and 30 after conquest, and defeated the Giant of the Trident, a rubber knight, who troubled the Trident in the Riverlands a year after. Despite the fact that there were several dragon hatchlings on Dragonstone, Maegor had not claimed a dragon of his own, claiming that none were worthy. After his father's death, Maegor claimed his mount, Balerion, for his own. After crushing rebellion in Vale, Maegor became new Hand of the King as a reward. Although Maegor had gotten married to Cerys Hightower, he still had no children by the age of 27. Meanwhile, the marriage of Aenys and Alyssa had resulted in 6 children. Rhaena, the firstborn, then first 3 sons, Aegon, Viserys, and Jaehaerys, followed by another 2 daughters, Alysanne and Vaila. Aenys and Maegor had been close up until Vaila's birth. Although Vaila dies shortly after her birth, Maegor decides that his wife must be barren following Alyssa's newest demonstration of her fertility. Maegor secretly married Lady Alice Haraway, the daughter of Lucas Haraway, the new Lord of Harrenhal. Dowager Queen Visenya Targaryen led the Valyrian ceremony after Maegor could not find a Septon to perform the marriage. The marriage angered the faith of the Seven, and Aenys felt forced to exile his brother when Maegor refused to set Alice aside. As such, Maegor was sent to Pentos, where he was to stay for 5 years. Septon Myrmidon replaced Maegor's hand, while Aenys' eldest son, Prince Aegon, was named Prince of Dragonstone. After Aenys was burned and buried, Visenya flew to Pentos on the back of her dragon, Vhagar, to bring Maegor back to Westeros. Although Aenys' eldest son, Aegon, was the heir to the Iron Throne, Maegor claimed the throne upon his return. He was crowned at Dragonstone with the Valyrian steel crown of his father, King Aegon I, instead of Aenys' ornate one. Grand Maester Gavin protested Maegor's coronation, stating that by all the laws of inheritance, the crown should be passed to Aenys' son, Aegon. Maegor beheaded Gavin with Blackfire, making Gavin the first of the 3 Grand Maesters who would be executed during Maegor's reign. Maegor took Aenys' widow, Alyssa Valerian, as a hostage, as she had been residing at Dragonstone. Alyssa's younger children, Jaehaerys and Alysanne, were kept on the island of Dragonstone with Alyssa, while her other son, Prince Viserys, was made Maegor's squire so he could be kept close as a hostage to ensure Alyssa's good behavior. The Faith had seized the Sept of Remembrance on Rhaenys' hill in King's Landing, so Maegor flew to the city and planted his banner on Visenya's hill to rally men. Visenya challenged those who questioned her son's right to rule to prove themselves. Sir Daemon Morrigan, the captain of the warriors' sons, challenged Maegor to a trial of 7. Though Maegor was the only survivor out of 14, he took a blow to the head and collapsed just as the last warrior's son died. On the 28th day of Maegor's coma, Queen Aelys Harroway returned from Pentos, bringing with her Tiana of the Tower, a courtesan who had become Maegor's lover during his exile. Tiana took over his care, and Maegor woke up from his coma on the 30th day. Recovered Maegor mounted Balerion and burned the Sept of Remembrance, while archers killed all those who attempted to flee. Although the Faith would remain Maegor's chief enemy for the duration of his reign, he faced further oppression from Aenys' heir, Aegon. That rebellion came to an end when Maegor atop Balerion, leading an army which included houses Tully and Harroway, slew Aegon and his dragon Quicksilver in the battle beneath the God's Eye. Maegor's forces achieved a bloody victory over the Faith militant in the Battle of Stonebridge, and later at the Great Fork of the Blackwater, where thousands of poor fellows, knights of the warriors' sons, and rebel lords of the Riverlands and Westerlands opposed Maegor's army. Maegor personally fought in the latter battle, burning men on Balerion's back. Afterwards, Maegor raised a set of laws which forbade holy men from carrying arms, and offered bounties of gold dragons for the scalps of warriors' sons, and silver stacks for the scalps of poor fellows. He also punished lords who spoke out against the suppression of the faith. He even threatened to incinerate the starry Sept at Old Town, in response to the High Septon condemnation of his polygamous marriages. Shortly after, the High Septon died suddenly, allowing Lord Martin Hightower to open his gates before Balerion and Vhagar could burn the city. The new High Septon was a more passive man, but proved unable to halt the rebellion. Maegor brought 2,000 skulls from his campaign against the Faith to King's Landing, claiming they were the heads of warriors' sons and poor fellows. Many suspected they were the skulls of innocent smallfolk, however. Construction of the Red Keep continued under Maegor's reign, leaving the administration of the kingdom to Lord Lucas Harroway, his Hand of the King and father-in-law. Maegor focused on the construction and ordered the construction of hidden tunnels and secret passageways within the castle. He also ordered 4 levels of dungeons constructed, and had the 4th level built specifically for Torment. In year 45 after conquest, Maegor saw the Red Keep completed, and Maegor's holdfast was subsequently named after him. He threw a feast for those who had taken part in the construction, but after 3 days of revelry, he had them all put to the sword to protect the secrets of the hidden passages. In place of the ruined Sept of Remembrance on Rhaenys' Hill, Maegor began construction of the Dragon Pit for the Targaryen dragons, but as many builders and masons had fled King's Landing after the Red Keep massacre, Maegor had to use prisoners from the city's dungeons for the construction, supervised by builders from Myr and Tirosh. Maegor's marriage to Aelys Harroway had remained as childless as his marriage to Cerys Hightower had been. Thus, Maegor took his lover Tiana to wife, naming her to his small council as his mistress of whisperers. After his wedding to Tiana, however, his second wife Aelys Harroway gave birth to Maegor's first child at last. But since the child was a monstrosity, eyeless and twisted, Maegor had the midwives Septas and Great Maester Desmond executed. Tiana, however, convinced Maegor that the child had come forth from a secret affair of Aelys's. Maegor ordered the executions of Aelys, her father Lucas, and every other Harroway he could find. With House Harroway extinct, Maegor held a melee in Lord Harroway's town with Harrenhal the prize. Though gravely wounded, Sir Walton Towers was the victor, and House Towers was granted the ruined castle. The death of Maegor's mother, Dowager Queen Visenya, in year 44 after conquest, devastated Maegor, as she had been his strongest supporter. Aenys' first Targaryen's wife, Dowager Queen Alyssa Valerion, escaped during the resulting chaos from Dragonstone with her 2 youngest children, Jaehaerys and Elysan, and the Valyrian sword Dark Sister. In response, Maegor had her eldest surviving son, Prince Viserys, his squire, tortured to death by Queen Tiana after 9 days of questioning. His mutilated body was left in the courtyard for a fortnight in an unsuccessful attempt to force Alyssa to return. A year after his mother's death, Maegor's first wife, Queen Cerys Hightower, suddenly fell ill and died. Rumors spread that she had been killed at Maegor's command. 2 years after, childless Maegor met his 3 black brides, 3 women of proven fertility who had been widowed through his actions or wars. The youngest, Lady Eleanor Castaigne, birthed an eyeless child with small wings. Lady Jane Westerling lost 2 children, and she died soon after the second. The last was the eldest daughter of King Aenys I Targaryen, Princess Rhaena Targaryen. Maegor named Aeria, one of Rhaena's 2 daughters, by her deceased brother Aegon, as his heir, disinheriting her brother, Prince Jaehaerys. Queen Tiana then claimed to have poisoned Maegor's other wives, causing the abominations. Maegor cut out her heart with black fire and fed it to his dogs. Day by day the 7 kingdoms turned against its king, and by year 48 after conquest, Maegor's tyranny could no longer be borne by the realm. In the Riverlands, House Tully of Riverrun supported Septon Moon and Sir Joffrey Doggett, the leaders of the Poor Fellows. Maegor also found himself opposed by Lord Daemon Valerion, the admiral of the royal fleet, and many great houses followed Valerion's example. A new claim for the Iron Throne was put forth by Aenys' first surviving son, Prince Jaehaerys. The prince was supported by Lord Robar Baratheon of Storm's End, whom Jaehaerys named Protector of the Realm and Hand of the King. Learning of her brother's claim, Queen Rhaena Targaryen fled from Maegor in the night, escaping on her dragon Dreamfire with the Valyrian blade Blackfire. 2 of Maegor's Kingsguard also abandoned him. These series of betrayals and the loss of Visenya's guidance left Maegor a broken man. He called his banners, but few answered, and those who did were not enough to defeat his many foes. During the Hour of the Wolf, those few who remained left the throne room, leaving Maegor alone to brood. He was found dead seated on the Iron Throne the next morning, his robes covered in blood, his wrists slashed. Some say he had been killed by a knight of his own Kingsguard, who could no longer abide his tyranny. Some say he had been killed by a builder that escaped the Red Keep slaughter and desired revenge, and some whispered that Maegor had been killed by the throne itself. Perhaps the most likely explanation is that Maegor killed himself by opening his wrists on the blades of the Iron Throne. Maegor died without issue, and was succeeded by his nephew, King Jaehaerys I Targaryen, the youngest son of the late King Aenys I. Thank you for watching. See ya!